rock stars come in many forms. They may not just play music, they may even do play music, and that could be the cello. Or instead, they may be young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Margo Drakos right here on Rainmakers. Margo, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so that was a big mouthful that I started with, but so let's get something right out of the way. You were a concert cellist?
Yes, I was. I resigned from my positions in the end of the concert season in 2008 to move into tech and building startup companies.
Okay.
A very logical transition.
Oh, well, actually, so I got to ask you, is there a relationship between music and math? So this is for all the parents out there, by the way.
Well, I wish that I could say with great confidence that there was this fabulous relationship between music and math. I do, however, think that there's tremendous correlation between dedication and the study of an instrument, and actually the management and the entrepreneurial and performance skills that it cultivates. I was not aware of that, but upon looking back in reflection, it's been amazing to see. I think really how well the problem-solving skills for the study of an instrument prepares you for many things in technology and business and managing a team and
well. How did you get to be a young global leader of the World Economic Forum? I mean, that's big stuff.
Well, it's a humbling crew to have the pleasure of being associated with. Actually, it's a process where most of us were unaware that we had been nominated in many cases, and you receive a very very distinguished looking email and letter that says Her Honorable Queen Reina of Jordan has hereby appoints you as a young global leader, and I thought it was spam, but to be quite honest when I first received it, but it's an incredible collection of individuals who are nominated by the time they turn 40 and are from academic, from business, from science, from culture, from politics, and from around the world, and it's just an extraordinary group.
Well, here at CGI 2011, one of the three main topics of discussion is surrounding jobs.
Yes.
Big, huge thing. You're an IT entrepreneur. You're a job creator.
I hope. I think we have a responsibility to try to work on that as much as we possibly can in each of our own ways.
And you formed a company called APPbridge?
Yeah, so it actually stems from fellow young global leaders of the forum. It was sort of by accident that this happened. I had a little idea to ask a fellow young global leader to have some of his students at the Lahore University Management Sciences University build some math game apps for very basic cell phones. And they built it, it was wonderful, and then lo and behold, it's not as simple in many of the regions as just uploading it to the Apple or Android stores for distribution. And so I started poking around and finding, oh my goodness, there's fabulous content at many organizations on the ground, and very, very little ability to actually distribute the content. And furthermore, when talking about jobs and mobile and this synergy, when you look at the estimated 3.1 billion people who are estimated to be entering the labor market shortly, with only about 300 million jobs awaiting them, and then you pair that with, at the end of 2009, I believe it was 57% of the developing world had mobile phones. And you think about the opportunity to provide education, job training, and things through mobile. Not everyone has a computer, the access to that, good education, or even some simple entrepreneurial skills to be able to support themselves. And so it's this kind of amazing opportunity, I think, to be able to look at how do you empower people to be competitive in this new space. And so we founded APPbridge, launching it officially this week. It's kind of an odd thing because you're announcing it, but we have to build many things. So we're kind of in the very much the early stages, but we're building an online platform to collect, create, and distribute mobile applications to those in need. And these will be free applications that center around education, job skills, economic opportunity.
Wow, that's an awful lot. So you actually have, as you launched the company, you actually made a commitment right here at CGI. That's a big deal.
Yes, it's a huge deal.
So tell us about the commitment. I mean, you said education, economic opportunity and employment.
Job skills, yeah.
So
we're actually, what we're doing is that, so we've committed to building this first version of this platform that will actually pair, in the collection process, it'll actually pair and partner with content partners on the ground. Very important, local organizations who have specific needs for their local communities will be paired with a community of application developers. And we're actually working on some programming language to make sure that the apps that these gentlemen or women build will actually be compatible across the spectrum of mobile devices and multiple languages. So the collection period happens, and then there will be the creation period of the applications, and then the distribution in tandem with partner telecom companies. And in some cases, they will be preloaded on phones depending on regions, or we're working on, sort of, one of our commitments, I should say, point 2 of the commitment is to work with telecommunications companies to make sure that the applications are supported and are economically affordable for the target audience.
Okay, let's break this down and let's see if we can simplify it just a little bit.
Sorry.
Because I think that's okay.
It's a complicated, big problem.
All right, you talked about content providers on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, are you talking about content providers in your office, or are you talking about content providers somewhere else?
That's a great point. We're actually talking about local NGOs and local, Bharti Foundation, for example. They work in rural India, have a series of schools. What are the needs of those organizations? If it's a wonderful company called Mobile, it's a small organization called Mobile Movement that's working in Kenya and is expanding into the Middle East. We actually just on our website this week launched a short video of a Yemeni woman who has a small seamstress business and is actually going to be receiving mobile applications to help her teach how to do simple bookkeeping, how to have access to new markets and things.
أحلامي كبيرة. أحلامي إن أنا أكون سيدة أعمال كبيرة. أطمح إن أنا أفتح دار أزياء. أقول للشابات يحاولن يتغلبن على العادات والتقاليد بالتفاهم وثقة الأهل فيهن، يكسبين ثقة أهاليهن أولاً. ليش تجلس؟ يعني حتى الحاجة البسيطة تقول لا، يعني ما تقولش إني خلاص عاد أوقف عمل، عاد أوقف ما عاد أسويش لأنه عمل ما لش لازمة في المجتمع. في حتى والله شغل باليد باليف، إنهم بيشتغلين ما شاء الله ويفتحون بيوت ويشكن على أسر وهو شغل باليد.
Have footage of showing a Kenyan developer who's a 24-year-old who is working with Mobile Movement, who's actually going to be working on building the app for the young woman in Yemen. So it's very important, I think, to share that this is from what the local populations need for specific education or job training tools. It's not just a top-down, it's almost a bottom-up and back-down.
So how would, some of the places where you're talking about impacting are among the poorest on the planet. And it's hard for me to understand how they would be using a mobile phone application, but I bet it's not hard for you to explain, huh?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, there's incredible, powerful tools that can be delivered as simply as having, just even from a text messaging system. I mean, obviously there's fabulous text messaging systems. I'll refer back actually to a case in Yemen, a young woman who has an Ethiopian bread baking business and is not allowed to leave the house and without knowing if the store is open. But the store doesn't open where she would sell her bread. It's not open consistently. And so this is a problem. How does she actually sell her goods? Well, there's a simple text messaging system being implemented so that she's actually allowed to receive a text message to know the store is open, so she can actually go and sell her goods. So something as simple to many of our lives. So that's one thing. The other, you can think of examples for learning English language training or math games through phones, where you can actually have a pretty simple phone, a Nokia phone that has auditory and visuals that will go through a language training. There's this fabulous lab called the Human Development Lab at Carnegie Mellon University that spent a number of years actually testing in rural environments what is working. It's a complete fifth grade language training program for teaching English as a second language through the mobile phone, and it's incredibly powerful platform for looking at improving economic opportunity.
Who wants this?
Well, thus far, the response seems to be quite overwhelming. I mean, the people on the ground, I mean, even at CGI this week, I can't tell you how many on-the-ground organizations were like, can we please, what content do you have? We're in desperate need of these exact tools. People don't have necessarily, laptops. They don't have access to it. They need simple things. They need straightforward. They have straight forms. I had a gentleman who mentioned he'd just come back from a refugee camp in Chad, and he said the only thing one family had, was phones. I think it's this incredible need, and it's very complex to oftentimes work with the distribution channels to partner with the telecommunications companies to make sure that it actually can get to the end users. And I think that's the big challenge, and that's what we have a huge challenge ahead. I hope that many of the telecom communications companies are that many seem extremely interested and excited to be partnering, because it's also a new market for them, and if these individuals are able to support themselves, more family members will certainly buy phones. As we know, in the States now, you have a teenager sending an average of 100 text messages a day. So I think it can be a win-win for many.
A day or an hour. Well, all right. So if you're going to be giving away these apps, how are you going to sustain yourself?
Well, I think I'd love to have a series of conversations about that. I think one of the challenges is going to be figuring out some models that I think APPbridge itself will be an umbrella organization. But what I hope to do is that we'll be able to partner, especially in the job training skill area, where with whether it's simple electrical jobs, whether it's simple plumbing jobs, whether it's IT support for certain things that people could learn skills. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to partner with corporations to have an opportunity to find a model where there's where the data or the revenue sharing can be somehow split in a favorable way to sustain our organization. But these are huge questions that have to be determined.
One mobile application that seems to be getting strong penetration in low and middle income countries relates to financial services.
Exactly.
Is that something that you will touch on, or you will somehow, I don't know if piggyback's the right word, but somehow have a relationship with?
Absolutely. I hope that we, Mobile Movement, the organization I mentioned that's working in Kenya, that's scaling into the Middle East and throughout North Africa, is exactly that. It's helping, they actually are launching a Khadija initiative, which is a small, it's a very small program. I'm laughing, the 10,000 women to help their, in the Middle East, to help women grow their business, start and grow businesses. It includes, access to finance, repayment, savings, education, and APPbridge will be the creation and distribution platform for the mobile component. Much of it will all be going through the mobile phone. Another fabulous partner that we're working with, which is actually another young global leader, David, is at Frog Tech, and it just won a huge award sponsored by Vodafone this week, actually, for about $200,000. And it's a whole turnkey solution for businesses to be able to have bar scanning, credit card transactions through a smartphone app. But it's working in Mexico and Colombia. We're very excited to be working with them. So I think there's, we very much want to be the bridge to bring all these fabulous tools together to make sure that they can get to all the people that are in need of them and who will benefit most greatly.
Okay, here comes the question. It's 2011 as we speak. Say in 2016 we're having this same conversation. You're going to look back over your past 5 years. What are you going to see?
Well, in our commitment, we're hoping to. Our goal is to be in 20 countries, and our aim is to have a very robust, collaborative ecosystem, and programming language that works across a vast variety of devices and vast variety of countries, and to be really impacting millions. So I would say that's our goal, and I hope that we're in impacting staggering amounts of people in a very positive manner. And I think it's important to make sure that we're positively impacting and giving them tools to realize their own potential.
We'll catch up with you then. Thank you very much, Margo.
Thank you so much for having me.